of the keyless or passive ignition, I don't know what you want to call it, for the Harley Fat Boy. Again, as I mentioned in my intro video, my whole goal was to essentially treat it like a fob in my pocket. So the newer Harleys have this technology, the older ones just don't. So what I was using is passive entry from a car alarm system to essentially do the same thing, but instead of locking in and locking doors, it would be applying power or letting power get to the ignition and then removing it. So I've got this kind of mocked up, and I know it looks like a big old wiring mess, but it's really, really simple. We're talking maybe about, I don't know, 8 wires max, okay? So right now you can see that this light is on. That indicates that there is power going through the relay, right? And this would indicate that the ignition would be available. So basically the little lamps, you know, your neutral, green light, all that stuff, that would come on as soon as that relay was locked into place. So to show you what it's doing close up, and then I'm going to walk away with this fob in my hand to show you deactivate and then reactivate when I walk back, is right now it's in an unlocked state. So like if the car thought you were coming to get into it, it would unlock, and that is what's telling it to go ahead and allow power to come through. Now I'm going to go ahead and click lock, and now that's cut the power. So this wouldn't allow any power to my ignition switch right now, is if it was on the bike. So I'm mimicking what it would look like if I walked away from the vehicle with this in my pocket or my bike, right? So I'm going to actually physically do the walking away now. So I'm going to go in and unlock it. So this indicates like power's on my bike. I just got finished riding it. So technically anybody could flip the switch and start the bike, right? I'm going to pretend that I left it in the on position. I killed the engine, but there's still power allowed to pass through. Now I'm going to walk away. I'm about 10 feet or so away from the alarm system, and you can see it disengaged. I'm now going to approach it, and as soon as I do, you see that the antennas picked up the fob and allow power to go back to the bike. Now this is not going to be the sole security for the bike. This is just a little bit of convenience where I don't have to constantly put the key in to either lock or unlock the ignition. If I wanted to not lock the ignition, that's okay. I have the fob, I walk away, nobody can start the bike because the power would be in this state, which is no power. Make sense? Now I'm going to walk you through the wiring really quick. Alright guys, so here's how it was wired up. It's very, very simple. Okay? On the main side of the harness, this is the car alarm or passive entry system, use 2 wires, your ground and your positive. That's to give this unit power. That's all you need from that. On the secondary harness here, we're using 2 more wires. That's the unlock and lock signals. If you look at the schematic, again, it's pretty straightforward. So I'm only using the red and the black for battery positive and battery negative. And then I'm using the red and green, which is the lock and unlock line for the passive system. Now, the lock and lock are triggers. Those are signals that you want to send over to this device here. This is called a latching relay. As I had mentioned, I think in my first video, the whole point of a latching relay is to energize it and keep it in that position until you're done with it. Most relays will do just a quick, simple blip. So when you lock and unlock these doors, it's not constantly sending 12 volts. It's just a quick, we'll say, flash of that 12 volts. That's all you need when you're using a latching relay. It gives it that flash, and it'll lock that relay into place and keep it there. So in this, what you're using is essentially 6 wires. you have your positive and negative, and that goes to a battery source. You have your set and reset wires. Now what that is basically the set is triggering your relay to go active, meaning it's going to complete the circuit. To reset it means you disconnect that circuit. Now on the diagram here on the actual relay itself, you can see, and I'm only using switch 1, there's a second relay here. If I wanted to use it I could, but I'm not. I don't need it for this purpose. But you can see right there, that little arm with the open position, that's telling you that in the reset position, it's off, meaning open, right? There's no connection there. When it goes into the powered or on state, which is set, it'll flip that little switch down and you complete your circuit. So what you use this black and red wire for is to put in between your ignition wires, right? So now instead of the wire going to your switch, you're going to put this in between your switch and your power to the switch. So now your power to the switch will go here, and then you can go ahead and put this to your switch. So it has to pass through this in order to get power to your switch, right? So that is what makes it possible to kill the power to your switch when you walk away and this thing gets triggered, right? So the triggers here, the set or reset, is your unlock and lock feature, right? So like I said, set means it's on, meaning you get power. So the red wire from the alarm system or the passive entry system is the unlock wire, and the green wire is the lock. So unlock sets it, means it's powered. Unlock or lock means reset and it's no longer powered. So that's how you control that. This device is kind of cool. It comes with buttons on it already. So if you wanted to not use, I guess, an alarm system or whatever, to set and reset your relay, you could just by pressing the button, right? But again, the whole point is to not have to touch stuff, right? Or minimize the amount of stuff you're touching. So that's it. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to draw this out on a diagram for you really quick, and that way you can get an easier picture than looking at this mess of wires. Okay guys, hopefully I didn't make this schematic too hard to follow. I don't have a bunch of colors or anything like that, so I didn't fancy it up. I just used pencil, right? So basically there's 4 pieces to this, right? There's your battery for the motorcycle, the entry system, the power switch on the bike itself. So this on the Harley, it's on the gas tank, or at least for mine. And then there's the relay that I showed you. Okay, so the battery is supplying power to the entry system on the positive, that's the red wire. It's providing a ground on the black wire, negative. So it comes across and comes down here into the negative battery. So that allows this to be energized. You can hit your unlock and lock key, and then that's going to send a pulse through either your unlock or lock wire. So it's just a quick 12 volts that gets shot out, right? So again, it's supposed to be connected to like an actuator for your door. So when you hit it, unlocks your door, right? In this case, it's going to a relay to tell it to either latch or unlatch. The relay has a positive and negative. Those also go to a battery, or to the motorcycle battery. The set, in my case, is going to be the unlock signal. So when that unlock comes through, because I've approached the bike, it's going to latch that relay and let the power to flow through. Okay, and then when I walk away, the lock signal will get sent and it'll reset. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through kind of really quickly how this would work. So as I approach the bike, that unlock signal comes flowing through into the relay as a set, which then would close this circuit. So in a normal state, in that reset state, it's open, there's no connection. But when I set it, it'll create this connection here, allowing for the power to flow to the battery. And when I reset it, it cuts that off. So then there's no power to the switch. Pretty simple, basic setup. The wiring and storage of the devices is going to be the tricky part, because I got to figure out where I can put it all, and I need to make sure I weatherproof it, or at least make it weather resistant. So all in all, my next video will be the installation of this setup, and then just showing you all that it works. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment. In the meantime, like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video.